There's not enough books in the world for me to keep reading a trash book like that. Hello everyone, welcome to my booktube channel. My name is Alexis and this is my July wrap-up.
So many books to read, a whole life ahead of me.
So I currently haven't counted how many books I read in July. We'll get to that in a second. First off, if you're here and you're not new to my channel, probably the last thing you probably saw was my TBR for the Reading Rush, and I just want to say that I failed it miserably. I did record a vlog, I have that footage, I might post it, however I might not, because in the end, the Reading Rush was a mess for me. I did participate in a read-in, it was really fun, I met some other booktubers, that was great, but that's not what the point of this video is. I just wanted to let you know that that footage might be up someday. It's just not going to be before this footage. The reason I failed so much at the read-in and the Reading Rush in general was because I was still a college student. Keyword on still. As of today, I know that I've passed all my classes and I'm done with college and I am free. Because of that, I have more time now and I can participate in more YouTube stuff and have more time dedicated to my channel. We're going to start off this monthly wrap-up with the first book that I finished in July, which was Arrows of the Queen. It is a Mercedes Lackey book. I really enjoyed this book. I think this book would have been better if it was written for a higher reading level. I definitely think this is something I would have read along the same time I read Percy Jackson for the first time and loved it. However, I still very much cherish the books and I can't wait to read more of the series. I gave it a 4-star, which means I really think you should read it too. I really think it's a great book and I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of high-ranking books in July. So the next book that I finished was Breath of Earth by Beth Cato. This book was amazing. I just realized I didn't really say what Queen of Arrows was about, but we're going to talk about Breath of Earth first a hot second. I wish I still had the books, because I got the books during my library haul, so you probably saw that. You might have seen that video a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. It was a while ago anyway, but I got this book as one of the books in that haul, and I was really excited about it because the cover art was amazing. Basically, the plotline of the story is America in, I think, the early 1900s, where instead of Japan being allied against the U.S. in the World Wars, Japan was allied with the U.S. And so that changed a lot of the dynamic of America, and that changed a lot of the outcome of the politics in our country. And on top of that, there's people called geomancers who have the ability to absorb the energy that's in the earth and use that to power planes and cars and steamboats and basically use it in any way we've been using coal and other forms of energy. The only geomancers in this world are men, except our main character, who is a woman of color, geomancer, and not only that, but probably the most powerful geomancer in America. This book takes place in San Francisco, which is a new one for me. I'm wanting to make a map of like all the places I've been based on books, and now I have San Francisco on there. There isn't many fantasies that I've read that take place in San Francisco. If it's in California, it's always like LA, which is fine. I just want more cities on my map. That sums up enough that you need to know to decide if you're interested in it. Again, like looking at that cover art, like look at her, like wow, I was just blown away. And you can tell Beth Cato did her research. She kind of talks about it in the back that a lot of the events in the book are based off real historical events that happened. And you can tell it's really well written. I cannot wait to read the rest of the series. The only downfall in the book is that the romance is kind of too YA for me. So is that really a turn down? No, maybe I just like a little more Sarah J. Maas in my reading, you know, but that's such a small thing to be disappointed by. The next book I listened to the audiobook for was Lord of Shadows. That is Dark Artifice? Is that Artifice? I don't know. It's one of Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunter series. You may know that I have not read any other Shadowhunter series by Cassandra Clare. I attempted City of Bones and City of Glass, and I got to the third one and I was like, are they brother sister or not? Couldn't deal with it, just DNF'd the whole series after that. I never read Clockwork Princess, and I have never read anything else. So, with that said, I hate how she does romance. Like her whole Jason Clary thing, annoying. I couldn't get into it. But same thing here with like the main girl whose name I can't even remember at the moment, and Julian. Their romance was just so like, I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, I pity you. I don't feel for you. I just pity you. And that's not what I want in a romance, and if that's like the main reason for reading your stories, it's not the best reason. But I still gave that one 4 out of 5 stars because I really enjoyed the ending, and I feel like this is one of her best series. Not only because I'm actually finishing the books, but because I'm also enjoying them. So that's good. And then I finished the Alpha and Omega series by Patricia Briggs. The Alpha and Omega series is a werewolf series where the Omega is like a different type of wolf that's not really talked about much in other supernatural stories. I don't think I've ever read a book that had an Omega wolf in it. But basically an Omega wolf is at the same time submissive and dominant. That's kind of what I've gotten out of it. If you've read these books and you know better, correct me. But, so our main character is a girl who's been, she was forced to be on her dominant side. She was kind of, you can't dominate Omega wolf. There's all these weird rules about them. I don't really get it. But in this world, the supernatural creatures, the fairy are planning to come out. The wolves are planning to come out. Like, they're no longer able to hide behind humanity by saying folk tales or anything, because there's too much technology catching their every move. And I think in terms of addressing the reality of supernatural creatures still living in our world today and how they would do it amongst technology is really interesting and really well done. I gave the second one 3 stars and the third one 4 stars. But now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I should change the 4th one to 3 stars because I don't remember anything. And if I liked a book enough to give it 4 stars, I should remember a lot more than I do. And then, you may know, I read the Scarlet Bernard trilogy, the trilogy that had Shadowhunt. I read this one series by Melissa F. Olson, and I really enjoyed it. So much so that I bought the audiobook for all of them, and I listened to all of them, and I loved all of them. She publishes books in a way that she has a trilogy here, and a trilogy here, but all lined up. That's 9 books in order. So yes, they are all trilogies, separate and individual, but they're all part of like a bigger world, and I love that in books. I love when there's like a Marvel Universe level of development in a book, or in a world. And so I realized that the ones that I had read and really enjoyed were like at the end, were like the last ones she had published, and I kind of was sad by that and kind of discouraged and like against going back and reading the first however many books. But then I was like, you know what? Why not? I loved Scarlet Bernard in Shadowhunt. I loved it so much that I decided to go and listen to the spin-off series about Lex Luthor. Allison Luthor is a boundary witch who has a twin sister. She just got back from fighting in Iraq, and she's a soldier, dealing with PTSD, discovers she's a boundary witch, which basically means she cannot be killed by normal measures. It's kind of like a necromancer, but it's called boundary magic in this world. And her twin sister was killed. And I knew that in the Scarlet Bernard books that I had already read that her twin sister had been killed, but I didn't really know the details of how, so I thought if I listened to the Lex Luthor books that I would know. And it's not really mentioned in those books, it's actually even further back, so I need to listen to a lot. But basically, her twin sister is killed, she discovers she's a boundary witch, and she can have dreams where she's talking to her dead sister. Is she talking to her sister? Did Hamlet see his father? We don't know. But because of the way the magic is set up, I think it really is her sister, and I want to believe, and she thinks it is too. So, there's that. What I love about this series is that in one of her books, there was a female alpha. I have a problem with that. Anytime I read books that have werewolves in it, I always get annoyed that they're like, oh yeah, women have to be submissive. There's no alpha females. Women are not dominant, and it makes me mad. Like, I don't know why, I just get annoyed. I'm like, okay, sure. And they always say, like, and we're waiting for wolves to catch up and be more progressive. Are you waiting, or are you saying you're waiting so that you don't have to deal with people like me coming at you and say, why aren't there any dominant female werewolves? But the proof isn't in the pudding, so I get frustrated, and I mostly don't read books that have werewolves as the main character because of that, which is kind of why I think I rated Patricia Briggs' books kind of low, because she doesn't really deal with that as well as I'd like her to. But in the Lex Luthor and Melissa F. Olson, who I definitely like far better than Patricia Briggs, Melissa F. Olson has a female alpha, and I'm flabbergasted, and I'm elated. Like, I'm just so happy that someone finally did it. So I listened to Boundary Crossed, and I listened to all 3 books in that, or all 4, because the 4th one had just been published when I started it. So all 4 of the Boundary Magic series. And then ReadingRush started, and things got hectic. The first book I was so excited to read for the ReadingRush was The Nutcracker Curse, but if I ever upload that footage, you'll know why I DNF'd it. within like the first 15 pages, we had one princess who was like, I didn't mean to be a traitor to my sister. She was like my best friend. But also, I don't want to dance with that prince because he's fat. And I don't want to dance with that prince because he's, I don't know, looks sweaty. And I don't want to dance with that one because he looks like he's judging people. And the whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, it looks like you're the one judging people. Like, I just don't understand why you're fat-shaming these guys. And the only prince she wants to dance with is the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, perfect prince who she could see herself with. And because of how it was worded, I don't know if the author doesn't see a problem with any of this, or if it's a state where our main character would actually grow as a person. Either way, there's not enough books in the world for me to keep reading a trash book like that when I could read a book that actually has well-developed characters. So I DNF'd it, and that kind of killed me on ReadingRush because I was so excited about that one. That one counted for multiple challenges, and I just DNF'd it. And I also DNF'd Priest of Bones because I didn't have any feelings for it. That one was another one I got at the library from my library haul all those months ago. There was something that was like, it was okay. It wasn't like, I want to sit down and read this. I need the books in my life that make me want to come home and sit and read. And if a book isn't that, I can't read it. That's just how it is. Then I got to How Long Till Black Future Month. I loved it. I haven't listened to the entire audiobook yet, or the entire collection of short stories yet, but everything I have read, I enjoyed. So I know I'm going to give it at least 3 stars, and this is probably going to be the only video I really mention it in because short story books for me are hit or miss. There's always some that I don't like, or some that I do like. So it's hard to rate a whole collection of short stories when you don't love all of them and you don't hate all of them. And I can't wait to read more N.K. Jemisin. If you've seen Reagan's channel on Peruse Project, you know she loved the Broken Earth trilogy, and because of that, that's kind of where I got into it, and I was really excited when my book club decided to pick up that book. If you don't really know much about it, they're all kind of inspired by people of color, women of color in the book. I think the most meaningful thing out of that book for me was the prologue, where she talks about how she got into writing and how she didn't think that there was going to be anyone wanting to read her books because she wasn't the common author. The common author was an old white man writing feminism sci-fi, and she just wasn't that. She wrote people of color, and she wrote things that people of color go through, and people actually wanted to read that. Imagine that. Black people read. Did you know? Next, I listened to /read Spinning Silver. I gave it 4 stars because I felt like the romance at the end was just kind of like, eh. Like, the conclusion of the book just wasn't up to the standards, but the whole story itself was really good, and I really enjoyed it. Basically, Spinning Silver is about this girl who receives gifts. She can turn silver into gold. She's a business-savvy lady who accomplishes this by buying things really cheap and then selling them back for really expensive and using her profits to keep spinning her business. I picture him as like Jack Frost. Like, you got the ice prince who comes around and is like, can you really spin silver into gold? If you can do it by economic means, you can do it by magic, and he basically captures her into his kingdom and makes her a bride and forces her to turn silver into gold using magic. And that's basically the whole plot of one of the main characters in the book. Why I gave this book such a high rating is because the female relationships that develop in this book are amazing. Our other main character has dealt with abuse from her drunken father and having no power. She'd rather work than be someone's wife. She really doesn't want to be sold into the system, and she sees no options for herself, but she finds a way to make it work, or to make the best of it. And then again, that ending kind of deals with why I just felt like it was a subpar ending. And I think that's everything that I have read through July. I think I had a really good reading month. If you have read any of these books, or these books looked interesting to you, let me know. We can talk more about them in the comments below. Thank you for watching my channel. Have a great day. Bye.
I thought I needed to run and find somebody to love, but all I needed was some coconut oil. Don't worry about the small things, I know I can do all things. Mama always told me it would be alright. I thought I needed the rush, but it was never enough, cause all I needed was some coconut oil. Don't worry about the small things, I know I can do all things. Mama always told me that, and she was right. It's a party over here now.